This is Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of Britain, and he is having his birthday sung to him by a bunch of school children who are very, very lucky in the fact they're actually able to attend school on this day. And interestingly and shortly, we're going to find out more about Boris and his escapades, as well as his birthday, and a letter that he received from a 7-year-old who couldn't celebrate her birthday in March. We will come back to this later. First, let's go back in time to March 2020. March 20th, and the COVID restrictions were pretty strict at this point. You could only meet people one-to-one, and that was only if you were in a support bubble outside of your home. However, on the 20th of March 2020, the PM received a letter from Josephine Booth, a 7-year-old who had cancelled her own birthday party. Josephine Booth wrote to the Prime Minister saying, "Dear PM, I want to let you know it's my birthday today, but I'm staying at home because you asked us to. I think Mummy and Daddy might have to cancel my party, but I don't mind because I want everyone to be okay. Please keep working hard to keep us all well. Are you remembering to wash your hands? Lots of love, Josephine, age 7. Her letter went viral after it was posted on Twitter by the cricket club of which her father, Andrew, is the captain. The next day, the Prime Minister wrote back, so March 21st, and again, this also went viral across Twitter. Now, I've got to say as well on top of this, it was actually harder to read Boris's handwriting than the 7-year-old's. However, dear Josephine, happy birthday. I'm celebrating mine regardless of what you do or the rules. Okay, he didn't write that, but he might as well have done. This is what he actually wrote. Happy birthday. I'm glad to hear you're staying at home, though I am sorry to hear about your party. We have all got to do our bit to protect the NHS and save lives, and that is exactly what you're doing, so well done. You are setting a great example, working around the clock to keep people safe, and if we work together, we can send coronavirus packing. And once we've done that, you can definitely have a party with your friends." Now he does go a little bit further into detail about washing your hands and the importance of it, but I'm going to skip over that. I mean, it's a pretty stale letter, to be honest. Shock. And in front of you right now is a post that came up on Twitter on the 21st of January from the Prime Minister's office saying house parties are illegal and you can be fined up to £800. Take note as well what happens with Kerry and her fine, and it's clear that she organised this party. June 10th, 9 days before he has his birthday bash, this is what the Prime Minister said.
I urge everyone to continue to show restraint and respect the rules which are designed to keep us all safe. And it's only because of the restraint that you've all shown so far that we're able to move gradually out of this lockdown.
June 19th, Boris's birthday, he goes to a school and all the kids sing happy birthday to him. He's very impressed and he even washes his hands. So what were the COVID restrictions in England on the 19th of June? Social gatherings indoor at the time were banned, with people only permitted to meet outside in groups of up to 6. Pubs, hairdressers and restaurants remained closed. Most schools remained closed to the majority of their pupils. People in England and Northern Ireland who lived alone were allowed to form a support bubble with another household. But this only applied to people who lived alone and to single parents who lived only with a child under the age of 18. So bearing that all in mind, what does Kerry do? What happens at 10 Downing Street? Kerry rams 30 people into the Prime Minister's cabinet office, breaching COVID rules and as well as security rules, as some people attending the party don't have clearance, apparently Lulu Little, and puts on a birthday bash while the rest of the UK was locked indoors and a 7-year-old had sacrificed 2 birthday parties for the good of the country, which the Prime Minister used to his advantage, to use as publicity to show the way forward, which he totally ignored. And later that evening, according to ITV News, it's been reported that family friends were hosted upstairs to further celebrate the Prime Minister's 56th birthday in his official residence. However, at present, Downing Street said it's totally untrue. This is Julia Hartley Brewer. She is a journalist and broadcaster. And I don't tend to agree with her, but wow, did she put it so well and succinctly about why we should be so angry with Boris and everything that he's done.
Anyone who knows me would know I'm not someone who starts from an anti-Boris stance for very different reasons. The key thing here is, and again, there was a whole, like, there weren't any parties, or then they were, but they weren't parties, but I wasn't at them, but it turns out I was. He's been treating us as fools, and he thinks that just saying sorry is good enough. I'm afraid we're not as gullible as his various wives and mistresses over the years. The idea, harsh but I think fair, he thinks he can get away with these things. We keep being told, I've had so many Tory MPs on my radio show who tell me that the heat has gone out of this. I think the audience tonight tells us the heat hasn't gone out of it, and it certainly hasn't for me. And I'm sorry, this is not just about people missing funerals or missing being with their loved ones. It's much more than that. It's about fundamentally taking away our civil liberties, and we were told it was because it was saving lives. Now, key thing here, when people answered an email saying, yeah, I'd love to come to a bring your own booze party, and I'll bring the sausage rolls in Downing Street, those people, those dozens and dozens of people, and they went to parties every week, by the way, when we were all locked in our homes and able to see our family members, they weren't going to those parties going, gosh, I hope I survive, I'll probably die, but I'll go anyway. They knew it was perfectly safe. They knew it was fine. They were young, they were healthy, they were not worried. And yet they imposed those laws on everyone else. And when you have a government and when you have people working in Number 10 who think that there are us little people who have to obey rules, but they're clever enough to know when they're safe, that is when you have an arrogant government and an arrogant Number 10 and an arrogant Prime Minister who think they're above us. And I don't think we should ever be ruled by people who think they're better than us and know better than us. And I'm afraid he has to go, because we should have principles in our government that if you lie to Parliament, if you make laws that you then break, you have no business being in charge of this country.
Just want to say a big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. You really do help keep this channel growing and going. And the exact same sentiment to my YouTube supporters. Thank you so much. If you would like to become a YouTube supporter or a Patreon, it is as cheap as £1 a month. Before I disappear, I've got a prediction from Robert Preston from ITV News, which should be interesting for anyone to listen to. Other than that, thanks for listening, and bye for now.
Up until a couple of days ago, the Prime Minister definitely thought he could somehow escape unscathed from all of this. Very hard now to find any MP saying that he is safe, and many of them just think he's gone.